What's up, World Cup fans? I'm Cynthia Frelund, and this is GAMIFIED. We're in partnership with FIFA World Cup AI League, where we bring you analytics and interesting and cool ways of looking at the World Cup to help you make your predictions for our very fun game. I'm joined today for our second episode by my friend. That's his number one accolade in my opinion. Number one. Also happens to be the host of the Soccer OG simulcast. You can get that anywhere podcasts are available, including on YouTube. Of course, Max Bretos, his name in real life, his name on the YouTube life also. And he also happens to be the voice of the LAFC and formerly of ESPN and Fox Soccer. Max, the US made it. We made it.
It is. It's you have to pinch yourself because I did a bracket. I made the US get to the quarterfinals, but in hindsight, I go, who do you think you are? I mean, we didn't make a World Cup in 2018. Our program was rock bottom, and now through the ashes and all the storms, we've been able to get to a point here where we are playing good competition like we did against England. We had a challenging affair against Iran, and we were able to make it through. So that was the part. I mean, the round of 16 was always the target based on everything that's happened. So this is all gravy, so we can enjoy it. However, on the flip side, and I've seen this with many countries, you never know when you get to this point again. And the U.S. have made a quarterfinal once in 2002. So they can make it one more step. It'll be the furthest they've gone. So you're here. There's an obligation to take advantage of it.
I mean, absolutely. It feels like, I kind of feel like it feels a lot like that, like the game with England, right? Where, you know, in the end, if you would have been like, we're going to draw, everyone would be like, yes, we will take it. Draw sounds great. But then as you're watching the game, you're like, no, I want to win this game. Like, we deserve to win this game. We feel like we have, like, even though they had greater time of possession, percentage of possession, US had more shots on goal, maybe not quality ones, but more. It just felt like the pace was in the right spot. Like, I don't know. I don't think I'm going to, like, obviously, look, you match up against the Netherlands, which is a very, very formidable opponent. And like, that's not exactly the most fun draw, but at the end of it, like, I don't know. Is Christian Pulisic okay? Like, I guess that's what I need to know. I saw the tweet. I know he says he's okay. He's going to be out there Saturday. But I mean, I hope so. Cause it was really like, I've not been that nervous watching any sport outcome, like I can't even remember how long.
Good for you, Cynthia. I'm glad to hear that because you're supposed to be nervous. It's once every 4 years and you're in your country and everyone next to you is on the same team. It's not like you're supporting the Eagles and I'm supporting the Packers or what have you. We're all supporting the same team. So we will celebrate together. We will suffer together. Our emotions will be drawn either way. We'll have to see about Pulisic because he's already locked. You know, this is a quick tournament. So they will play 4 games in 12 days. And he went 90 minutes, and then 45 minutes and the pelvic contusion, which I was reading about that today. I wouldn't wish it doesn't sound that serious. And it's not going to knock him out of the tournament, but it sounds quite painful. And I wouldn't wish it upon anybody. But yeah, hopefully he's okay. And Josh Sargent too.
For sure. I mean, I don't know. I did like a quick, like, you know, what's going on in these matchups. And then of course, like, okay, so the Netherlands, like, look, if it weren't against the US, I think that I certainly like the Netherlands a lot. Like I find them to be a really fascinating team. Cody Gakpo, which I can't say. Like,
wait, say it. You told me off air. Gakpo.
Gakpo. I'm not going to say it wrong. Or at least
Frankie de Jong. Mantis de Pai. I just like saying it. I know I'm culturally insensitive. I'm very fond of the Dutch. I actually went to Amsterdam this summer, and I love. And I'll tell you this about the Dutch. You know, it's a small country, and they make the use of space. It's such a resourceful place, and their soccer is the same way. They make use of space, so they're just like it's a cultural equivalent. So just to see them, I'm a huge fan of theirs, except on Saturday, obviously.
Right. I mean, for like a couple of hours on Saturday, we're not into it. Cody Gakpo will be Cody Gakpo, just like in soccer.
Cody Gakpo.
Like when you land in Amsterdam, at least when I did, it was Goedemorgen, and that's how you learn how to do the G's. Like there's a lot of like in there. You know, that's just how. Anyway,
we should just do Dutch dialect shows here. I think that was probably a bigger demand right now. Actually, not true. Everyone wants
that won't offend anyone whatsoever. Look, so I did a quick like back of like this is an interesting one because of all of the games that will be played in that first set, like on Saturday here in the US, this one is the one that has come up the most close for me, which I was a bit surprised by just because I just was, right? I was like, "Oh, wow, like, okay, that this is interesting." So, I have about so my most likely final score right now is Netherlands 2-1, but it is actually because I always do fractional points because it's like, your percentage chance is never it's rare that it comes up with like a straight number. So, the Netherlands is actually 1-7, so 1.7 goals, and the US is actually 1.3, so they're rounding, but that point 4 is like not that different compared to some of the other ones like Brazil and Cameroon. That one's far more lopsided in favor of Brazil. So things like that. So I have hope, which could be maybe a flaw.
Never. Hope is
But I do have Cody Hawkpo scoring a goal because this guy is going to
well.
score some goals.
He scored a goal in every game.
He can't stop. He can't. He can't stop.
He's not going to score 2 goals, but he'll score a goal every game. That's a scary player. I mean, for the U.S. because of his consistency, and all his goals have been good ones. I mean, it's not penalties or little poached goals. It's helping in the creative process and hitting it from distance. So he's been good. But I think everything I've seen data-wise, including the sports books, which I always take a peek, they'll have Netherlands winning. The Dutch beat Senegal, pretty comfortably. They didn't look good against Ecuador. I thought Ecuador should have won that game. And in hindsight, not winning that game cost Ecuador passage to the next round. And then they beat Qatar, and they're like, it was okay. It still makes them a dangerous team because you always feel that they're growing into the tournament, and they certainly are capable of doing it. But they are consistent, much like the U.S. are consistent. They're not wowing you. They're not scoring goals. But every game kind of has a similar feel to it, which I think is a good thing. So I think two teams on a collision course here with the a close score line. No one's going to get away from the other. A 2-1 sounds about right, but the margin for error on all the analytics that we bring in here gives the U.S. a really good shot in a low-scoring game. They have a good goalkeeper. They have a stout defense. That the U.S. This is a good matchup. When you're playing a team that won a group, it's always going to be hard. But it's not France. It's not Brazil. It's not Spain, not that they won their group, or Argentina. It's a Dutch team that didn't qualify for the World Cup last time and are kind of growing up. And, even though Gakpo scored goals, they've been challenged offensively. So there's a great opportunity at the very least, for the U.S. to hang in there, maybe force extra time. Oh, boy, that would be absolutely anguish right there. But to stay close, I don't think the Dutch are going to be able to run away with this game. It's going to be close.
Yeah, I think when I look to see, so obviously the substitutions in this past game were far more interesting, right? Like, and I'm also curious, like, so there are some questions that I have around like how the US are doing. I'm speaking like a British person, how the US is happening to use their substitutions. I went to a British school, like in elementary school, so when I hear the R a lot, I
don't drop a pitch or a nil. All right, don't go to
the pitch nil.
No goal score, Cynthia. They're just really tight, very difficult to break down. I like sometimes the English announcers use these little cliches that I love. It's the cat amongst the pigeons. They're in 6s and 7s. Just drop a few of those.
Exactly. Well, look, but when I look to see some of the substitutions and the different lineup configurations that I saw, if the US can get out to an early lead, that's kind of the best. Like if the US can score within like the first 10 minutes of gameplay, then that will shift the entire thing. Because like you were saying, like the challenge for the way, so I was like trying to figure out like, okay, well, what is the way that the US wins this game? And it's an early goal. Early goal, put everyone kind of in that uncomfortable situation where the Netherlands has to like really focus on offense more than and that is hopefully what the US can pull off. Hopefully.
And Cynthia, what's interesting about that, sorry to interrupt you, is the U.S. haven't trailed in this tournament. They led the Welsh, they tied, scoreless with England, led Iran. It was an early goal. It wasn't a super early goal, but it was a first half goal. And then they were able to see it out. So I think that's a really good trend to follow. And they can, if they're going to rely on anything, it's that defense. Statistically, I believe in some areas, they are viewed as the best defensive team in the tournament. And most across the board, they're somewhere in the top 3 or top 5.
There's a lot of different ways that suggest that. I mean, I don't see anything that's been super predictive in this one that says they're anything up to the top 5 in any of it. Like right now, I kind of have 3-ish, 4 when I look at them kind of overall. I don't know which the most important one happens to be in this particular matchup, meaning which statistics are the most important. But I will say that it is a top one in the it's certainly not an offensively top one, but it is in terms of defense, something that's very, very, very helpful. Okay, so now we need to talk about England because I'm very interested in this English path because I think when I look to see like the way that the bracket turns off, like maybe this next one for England not as difficult, but after that, the path is difficult. So I'm curious what you think. I guess maybe we can just back up once, and you can say, is there anyone that you feel super super certain about this next round of 16? Like, what do you feel like you're like this is lock, stock, and loaded? I'm absolutely like I'm betting the house on X.
Well, I think of the games that we are familiar with, Argentina is going to be a massive favorite over Australia. And but is it, are you gonna want to ride with Argentina here? I don't think it's a pretty standard situation. That's just a David versus Goliath, and that's not the right analogy because I don't think there's going to be a David in that situation. The France against Poland, I think the French team is going to be should be able to get by, and they were able to rest some of their players in their final group game against Tunisia. And Kylian Mbappe played 30 minutes or so. Antoine Griezmann even less than that. So they have their guys ready to go, and a Polish team that has to be just thrilled to have made it here because they were this close to getting knocked out themselves. The USA of the underdogs seems like the best bet. Senegal to a lesser degree. I would like Senegal a lot more. At the beginning of the tournament, they lost their best player, Sadio Mane, to injury. And I've been watching this. Senegal was really impressive against Ecuador. Idrissa Gueye was, to me, the best player on the field. Unfortunately, he's picked up a yellow card. He'll be out. So Senegal are now without, to me, their best two players. So I would love to see surprises run true, but I would think that France, Argentina, definitely getting through. And if I was going to have fun, maybe I'd stick with Senegal. But the best bet for a team, an underdog, which in this case are all the teams who finished second in their group, it really is the U.S. And I think it's as we get news about the injured players, specifically Christian Pulisic, if there's some good news for the U.S., I think that's just going to improve the situation.
So my England note here would mean what you said was they'd be England and France, and I think that is a tough matchup. So
yeah, England, France, and let's hope for Argentina, United States, because that would bring the house down for the U.S.
Also,
one can only dream.
I already told you my model thinks Argentina's overrated, so
I thought so too. And they've come back in a big way. I don't think Argentina's going to win it, but they've made some adjustments. I have to take the hat off to their manager, Lionel Scaloni. He took out Lautaro and the striker, and they replaced him with Julian Alvarez. He took out he shifted the midfield, and they're better. So he's handing it off to the kids, and it seems like it's paying off. So it's just so happened that they got Australia. This could have been Argentina versus Denmark if we're playing well, or even France. But they should get through the quarterfinals in that case. And yeah, it's those Argentina, France. This has been a crazy World Cup. I hope the laws of averages say that something crazy is going to happen in the round of 16. It's not going to go to form, but I would lean into the U.S. and to a lesser degree, Senegal being able to maybe get a surprise result.
All right. I like that one too. I'm trying to think. I think, look, like when I look at Serbia and Switzerland, that one ends up being relatively close for the sake of who could potentially upset. And actually one that's a longer shot, but has some nice upside, which, I think is kind of funny. I don't know. You loved Canada. So Canada and Morocco, like that's an interesting, game still left to play. That one, I guess, is tomorrow. Maybe we should see because that one, maybe when this comes out, that will have already been being played. So yeah, I'm looking to see like what's going on left this week. But I think that Switzerland and Serbia one, like that one could go in the direction of Serbia. So
yeah. And you know what? The final group day on Friday, South Korea plays Portugal. And Portugal's already qualified. They still want to win the group, but I think they're going to rest some guys. And South Korea played really well, but lost to Ghana. They outshot them 2.5-1. They were peppering the goal. They've probably figured they're good for something here. So I think they might get Portugal sagging a bit because Portugal really had to extend themselves a lot playing against Uruguay. And I would tend to think South Korea might have a shot to beat Portugal and hopefully get some help to get them through.
Yeah, I like it. So we got one settled for the round of 16. The last one's netting themselves out on the 2nd of December, which in America, that's, Friday, which is wild that we're already in December. But it'll be interesting to see of the ones left this week, who's going to join the almighty US in, in the round of 16.
It sounds good to say it, doesn't it?
You know what? We get to say it right now, so I'm going to say it as many times as possible. I'm trying to think if there's any other upsets or anything. Brazil over Cameroon. Okay, I got it along. That's a big win there. Japan and Spain. I got a pretty big win for Spain. Is it any change in outcome in your winner of the entire shebang?
I had Spain beating Denmark, and I'd like to stick to Spain, but Argentina's starting to play better. I'm still reluctant to maybe bless them with winning it. I think the path for the French, there's that so far that side of the bracket says that France seems to be getting the right draw. It's so hard to repeat as champions, although France seems to have bucked that. In fact, I think you have to go back to 2006 for the last time a team that won the World Cup, or 2002 for the last time 2002 to 2006, the last team to win a World Cup to make it to the round of 16. It's hard to just get to the round of 16, and France did it, and they did it pretty easily. So that's probably at the top. But Brazil, to me, it's just they've been so impressive. The question is if they get the wrong team at the wrong time. That's what's always hurt them in a World Cup. But they don't get upset. They don't lose to teams they're not supposed to. It's usually a big name team at the wrong time of the tournament to lose. So Brazil obviously have got that in their back of their mind, but that's got to be number one. But it's a heavy shirt to wear to be Brazil, but they've done it 5 times before. So maybe why can't they do it again? Probably Brazil 1, France 2, Spain 3 in that order as the best teams I've seen.
All right. I'm still taking Brazil. I'm sticking with that one. And then of course, my little Belgium situation. I know there's some injuries and I understand it's been rough, but I still I can't go up. I can't quit them yet. I just can't. Not yet. Not ready for that yet.
Wait, I didn't hear. Who'd you say you can't quit?
Belgium.
Oh, you know what? Cynthia, as bad as it's gone.
Okay, fine. But you know what?
It's gone really bad. But if they win, they get through, and then it doesn't matter what the games look like. It doesn't have to be pretty. You just got to get the right result. And look, they won. Not. They beat Canada. They've got 3 points. So it's not like they're digging themselves out of a huge hole. They can certainly get through there. It'll be interesting to see if it clicks. It just seems like there's a bad malaise around that camp, but they can get out of it. It's an experience. They're one of the older teams. We'll have to see. The young teams are doing well. We'll see if the old guys can get one back here.
I know. I can't quit them yet. I'm just not ready to quit them yet.
I can't quit you. I can't quit Belgium. You.
Anyways, well, thank you so much for your time. Of course, we wanted to make sure and get this in before the U.S. game because we didn't get a chance to really talk about the U.S. before our first episode. So thank you for making time, my friend. And I will text you on Saturday during the game. I hope you are enjoying in ways that they can't enjoy in Qatar, my friend.
Oh, bright. But I'll see if I can do that, Cynthia, at 7 a.m. Pacific time. But as you know me, we've done it before. I think I'll do. I just got to plan a nap later in the day. That's the thing.
You're fine.
You get that. You get a couple beverages that early. You need a nap a little bit later.
You got it. Just keep eating heavy, greasy stuff too. We've got all of these things in the States. Fatty food plus beer. We're all set here in Southern California. Okay, so I gotta read our goodbye. Make sure to play along with us at FIFA World Cup AI League.com. Make all your picks for every single game. Predict alongside of both of us. Our names are both what our names are. Cynthia Frelund, Max Bretos. Thank you so much for your time, Max. Thank you all for listening, and we'll see you next time.